President Trump has signed an executive order that's going to ban transgender individuals from competing against biological girls and women. As a dad of 9
girls,
where do you stand on that particular issue?
For them to train so hard to get to where they are, and then to see people that have genetics that would they got younger brothers that could compete with them already, and they're 14.
Right.
So like if you're the same age, compete with a boy, that's just hard. Just the body structure alone is just hard. So I'm really happy for all the girls.
Live from New Orleans, Super Bowl week. Can't believe I'm here, quite honestly. For those of you that have followed me for a long time, 10 years in the making, this moment to be here right now.
What else is? Does Patrick Mahomes get in trouble? Is he someone who's why is he annoying?
Listen, I would know something about that. I'm considered one of the most annoying people in television. Why do you think that is?
Well, Stephen A. with a little bit of impressive self-awareness there. Anyway, I don't know. I'm starting to like Stephen A. Smith better. I've joked about him for the very reasons that he referred to himself as annoying. If you haven't been annoyed by Stephen A. at some point, I've got to ask you what's wrong with you. But the more that I listen to Stephen A., has he changed? Have we all changed? Have I changed? I don't know. I'm becoming a Stephen A. Smith fan. I have to say, I didn't see that coming. Travis Kelce getting grilled by the media yesterday here, the players facing the media here in New Orleans. And Travis Kelce was asked, what would you ask the media if you had one question for them? And he had an interesting response.
If I could ask the media one question, why are you guys leaning into this whole ref thing? You know what I mean? Like, why are you guys leaning into it? That's all I got, though.
I know the answer to that one, because you guys get all the calls. You get every call. Patrick Mahomes, I'm here when I arrived in New Orleans, they threw a flag. I was too close to Patrick Mahomes. That's why. The NFL is taking the end racism message off of the end zone here for this game. It's been a part of, if you've been watching on television, you see it all the time at the end of the end zone. They are opting instead for choose love and it takes all of us this time. So we're still going to have some messaging there, but the end racism messaging will not be on the field for the Super Bowl. I don't know. I think Donald Trump signed an executive order earlier this week ending racism, I believe, with the stroke of a pen, perhaps. That's the one thing, I guess, that he hasn't issued an executive order for over the past couple of weeks. But the NFL, we're going to be choosing love on Sunday and remembering that it takes all of us in this society. There's nothing wrong with that. Dennis Schroeder of the Golden State Warriors had some interesting words, Tim. You know, he said that getting traded, it's kind of like slavery. Modern slavery is what he says here. And, you know, as much as it's tempting to say, all right, we got a pampered athlete complaining, likening their life to that of a slave, Dennis Schroeder from Germany, he makes $13 million a year playing basketball. Look, I understand that for the average person, I wouldn't want Tim to go home and have Gary Schreier call me and tell me that I've been traded to some other media outlet and I got to move to Oregon next week. But I don't make $13 million a year either. So you got to realize here, I mean, you know, there's a trade-off that goes with this. You're in a very unusual profession when you're an athlete, and if that is part of the cost of doing 8 figures a year of business for yourself and your family, maybe not complain. It's a bad sign when you're comparing something to slavery. And speaking of bad signs, it was always a bad sign when you saw OJ running through an airport. He used to do that all the time in the Hertz ads back in the day. Those of you that are a little bit older, you know what I'm talking about. But I never want to see that motherfucker running through an airport. When he's leaving a city with great urgency, Might be time to call the investigators in. Cato Kalin may have heard a noise the night before when that happens. The juice. So hard to believe. Speaking of bad signs, here's a bad sign, maybe, a bad omen. If you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, take a look at this. Inside the Superdome, they were testing out graphics on the scoreboard, and they threw up the Eagles Super Bowl champions graphics. So there's a little preview for you. If you're a Philadelphia fan, you might be able to see that come to fruition on Sunday on the field. Super Bowl winners. Let's take a look. Who's been winning Super Bowls in recent years besides the Kansas City Chiefs? 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. Take a look at that. Look at the Rams slipping in there. That's the one that kind of gets forgotten a little bit when you take a look at it. But going back through the years, you got Patriots. Peyton Manning got one. Remember, Peyton Manning wins one Super Bowl in Indianapolis. He ends up getting another one when his arm was so bad that the ball looked like a paper airplane trying to get to the wide receivers. And then you got Brady. Then you got the Philly special. Then you got Brady and Belichick again. And then the Kansas City era begins, right? Kansas City, Brady. Look, no matter how many Mahomes wins, Brady still has that Super Bowl over him. Was that 55? I'm like everybody else. I can't keep track of them anymore. And then Sean McVay getting one there, a couple more for Kansas City as they go for the three-peat. He's the 2005 NFL MVP, Stand Together ambassador. Shaun Alexander joins the program. Shaun, how are you?
Man, that was a great intro. Thank you, man.
Well, thank you.
I'm doing great.
This is the first time I've done this show. Every time I've done 6 months I've been doing this, I'm always alone. I'm in like a cubicle.
Yeah.
And here I am, and it's like look, if you're gonna break out of your bubble, here's the way to do it, right?
Yeah, this is not by yourself.
I've never seen so many people in my life. Am I nervous? Yeah. Fuck yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah, this is great, isn't it?
But it's great stuff.
Well, hey, let me welcome you. Welcome to the Super Bowl.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's an MVP welcome. How can I be nervous now? Look, I got to ask you, Shaun. Saquon Barkley has had one of the all-time seasons that we've ever seen. 2,000 yards rushing during the regular season. And it's like, I don't know, he's had 3 60-plus yard touchdown runs in the last 2 games. He's just leaving everybody in the dust this year. As a great running back, I think you're a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
When you look at Saquon's game, what do you see one great running back analyzing another?
The best running backs always want to get in the opportunity of being one-on-one with somebody and then knowing if you break that tackle, it's a long run, and then being fast enough to turn it into a long touchdown. And Saquon has all of that to the highest level. Sometimes you watch games and running back says, oh, I'll break this tackle, and ooh, almost something happened. Everybody feels with Saquon, Derrick Henry, those kind of guys. If they break this one tackle and no one's behind them, then it's going to be a long touchdown. And so what's really cool is the Eagles have it set up with Jalen being able to run the ball, 2 great receivers, to be able to say, hey, if we angle all this stuff right here and now we give the ball to Saquon, if that guy on defense doesn't do his job, broken tackle, long touchdown, and Saquon is a threat on every play. He's, just so proud of him. Great season this year.
How demoralizing is it? Like the Commanders, they come out, they have the ball for a year, get a field goal out of it, and then Saquon's just like, boom, here's 6.
It's wonderful. When I used to play, my whole thought was, by the time this game's over, I want the other team to wish I was on their team. Like, you go from, I hate you, I want to stop you, we're going to bust you up, and then you're like, he's so good. Man, I wish he was on our team. That's a whole mental psyche that I want to run people through every game. And Saquon seems like he does that every week.
Yeah, he sure does. I'm pretty sure it's unanimous.
Yeah,
everybody,
he's pretty talented.
Everybody except for the Giants. I'm looking at you, Giants. Wanted Saquon Barkley. I
believe the Giants were like, he's okay.
He's all right. I don't know. We'll be okay. Daniel Jones.
But you know what? I almost went to the Giants. I wanted to go there. It was the 10th pick overall. They picked Ron Dane. And I ended up going to Seattle.
There you go.
I wanted to go play in New York. That was my cousin's favorite team. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to New York. 10th pick, Ron Dane, Wisconsin. I was like, really? Come on.
Listen, I don't want to throw Ron Dane under the bus, but speaking of decisions that people later regretted pretty quickly, there's one for the New York organization as well. Shaun, what do you make of this? I've been asking everybody, the whole narrative now around the Chiefs. First of all, I check into my hotel last night. I got in late last night. I go in, and the girl behind the counter says, "Who are you here for the Super Bowl?" "Yeah." Who are you rooting for?" I said, "Well, I guess I'm rooting for the Eagles." And she's like, "Me too." I'm sick of the Chiefs. Look, Andy Reid seems like a great guy. Mahomes seems like a great guy. The Kelce brothers seem like good guys. All of that, but it's like people are just getting a little tired of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not even their fault. But
no, they haven't done anything wrong but win. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them when they seem to do it the right way. They seem to have, hey, here's our core. Everybody get into our system. We're going to do this thing the brotherhood way. Travis dates a world icon. And
yeah.
And next thing you know, they have the whole world cheering for him. You're like, okay, this is how it's going to be.
The Kelce brothers have achieved world domination. You're in the grocery store, and there they are on the box of cereal.
It's like the Kelces versus the Trumps. Who's going to win?
Who's
You're
going
like,
to win?
Here's a game.
Yeah, they're up there. They've surpassed the Kardashians at this point, Shaun, I think. The officiating stuff. All of the talk. Now, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but just the fact that we're talking about it, what do you make of the whole thing? And one thing I will say, Mahomes is a little bit guilty here, a little bit guilty. Did you see the flops that this guy's doing now? He's trying to draw a whistle and a flag like he's LeBron.
But it's in every sport. The stars are going to get the calls. Like, no one was allowed to just come and yank my helmet or even get close to my helmet when I was playing in Seattle, especially. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you're going to protect the stars, and that's how it is in every sport at every level. Even in high school. The star player drives in for a basket, beep. Oh, he gets into one. You're like, well, that could have been charging, but not when the star has the basketball player. So that's just sports. You know what I mean? Like, the stars are going to get the calls.
Shaun, Kendrick Lamar is the halftime entertainment here. Who's your all-time Super Bowl halftime? What's the idea? Because I saw yesterday it was 18-year anniversary of Prince.
Wow!
And Prince is mine. What's your all-time number one halftime performance?
Wow! So Prince is big time. That was really big. Yeah, I think that'd have to be it because it was raining while they were singing Purple Rain, right?
Yeah.
I think I was, that's
like God got involved.
Yeah,
in that.
He like, hey, let me sprinkle a little on this thing. Yeah, that was big. There's been a couple of good ones that I remember. I feel like I actually liked last year's with Usher and him on the roller skates. My kids were just like, dude, he was singing on roller skates, And I don't let them watch all of the commercials, all of them because I got to guard some of the stuff, but especially my little ones, But I let them watch the halftime show, and they were like, "Oh, okay, that was kind of fly." So they did good, and of course, when Dr. Dre and all the guys. So that was like when I was like in high school, you know what I mean? So high school and college, So that was cool to see like Snoop and Dr. Dre and Eminem rapping on the stage. So yeah, but I think Prince is still number one.
All right, well, you handed me a segue there talking about your kids.
Yeah.
Because I've got 5 girls. And so as I was telling you, I've got everybody here is I got 5. How do you do it? How do you do it? You think I had like 30 kids or something, but you've got 12 kids, man.
Yeah.
And so I say, when I talk to you, it's like I feel like somebody who doesn't have any kids talking to me, probably. First of all, how do you do it and still have that smile on your face?
Yeah,
you got bright eyes and a smile on your face. They haven't worn you down yet.
No, we're still fun and gunning. 9 girls, 3 boys.
My gosh,
it's beautiful. I'm
God bless you.
Definitely a girl dad, and my boys are playing football. They're freshmen, 7th grade, and 4th grade. No, yeah, 4th grade. So it's a lot of fun watching them go from flag to tackle football. It's fun watching the girls play basketball and run track. And so my second oldest is running track at Liberty. And my third oldest girl, she's a senior in high school. She was an All-American last year and as a junior. So it's pretty cool watching them all go do their thing.
Well, Shaun, we just saw news coming across that President Trump has signed an executive order that's going to ban transgender individuals from competing against biological girls and women. As a dad of 9
girls,
girls, where do you stand on that particular issue?
I think it's a good thing. I think my daughters train so hard. You know what I mean? So it's one thing when you're a female athlete and then they carry this last name that says you got to be a great athlete also. So for them to train so hard to get to where they are, and then to see people that have genetics that would they got younger brothers that could compete with them already, and they're 14.
Right.
And so like if you're the same age, compete with a boy, that's just hard. Just body structure alone is just hard. So I'm really happy for all the girls, and I think that my wife played college basketball at SPU, and so just watching the girls be able to train so hard and compete at a high level. For anything that would give an advantage besides just hard work is something that would just be crushing for any young lady that gives that. So I actually like that. I like that call.
Well, Shaun, before you get out of here, tell me more about Stand Together and why you're so passionate about it.
Stand Together is it's about 850 of some of the greatest businessmen, women, and philanthropic leaders in the country. And they just go and try to tackle some of the country's biggest issues, from community work to juvenile justice system to anything that would help people understand that everybody's got this gift that could make this country really sweet. And so we always have a couple mottos. We believe in people. We like to do bottom up, which is people in the community doing the best work. Let's help them spread what they do at a high level. And so we have been tackling some of the greatest issues with some great people all over this country. I don't even know our numbers now, but I know there's and about 400 foundations. I believe our numbers are over hundreds of thousands every month that we're impacting, and it's millions every year. And so, and it takes a lot of great minds, a lot of great work, and a lot of great money. And so I've been just thankful for that. And what I've loved is pulling all my NFL little brothers that are playing in the league. Somebody called me Uncle Shaun the other day. I was like, oh my goodness, am I that old now? What's going on here?
No, listen, they can't be calling you that. You're younger than I am.
And so I'm going from Brother Shaun to Uncle Shaun. I don't still wrestle through that. But watching these guys take their platforms and be able to use it to empower people in the community to do great work has been wonderful. Helping these same guys that are taking their NFL platform and encouraging these great businessmen to put millions back into communities to go do great work has been fun. And all of that is fueled by my group with Stand Together. And so I've been very proud of Stand Together and all that they do, because we're seeing great changes. We tackle philanthropic things with a business mindset, which is, can we actually write down where the money's going and how many lives we're really impacting, and we're seeing some great happenings.
It's good stuff. Well, I gotta say, great running back, good human being, and I'm gonna say here, Kentucky kid.
Yeah,
we're claiming him. This is our guy.
I
right
am
here.
Florence, Kentucky, Boone County High School,
Horse Cave, Caverna High School, right here. Represent Kentucky.
Yeah,
today.
That's great.
Yeah.
Man.
All right, Shaun. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Bro, this was great, man.
All right, good times.
Roll Tide.
All right, Shaun Alexander. Roll Tide. I don't know about Roll Tide. He slipped that in on me.
Yeah, I did.
At the last second here. This is 59. Is this 59?
Yes.
The players themselves are having trouble keeping up with it, because now you got to be a Roman numeral scholar to know what's going on here. Let's take a look at some of the players trying to assess what Super Bowl they're actually playing in.
It's going to be 50. Am I close? I want to say 54. Not 54. Which one is this one? 53? This is 59? Wow. That's good to know. Oh, shit. Was it 54? I don't know, but to be honest. 59? No, I was way off. Like 68.
54? Damn, hold on, let me think. I couldn't tell you what day of the week it is. It's 59.
The crazy thing is, I was looking at the little Roman numeral the other day, and I was like, damn, I have no idea.
49. No, 59.
59? 59.
Yeah. Some guys I bet wouldn't get that, would they?
Or any of the teammates that get it wrong. Coop and Saquon's birthday are both on the Super Bowl. 26 plus 33, 59.
Okay, we're at a point here, Tim, where when they started this, they weren't imagining what it was going to look like when it got up into the 50s, right? Super Bowl I looked cool. Super Bowl II looked cool. Even the IV for Super Bowl IV. And it looked, when we were kids, I remember Super Bowl X, Super Bowl X. Even when it was Super Bowl XXX, it seemed a little erotic, but it looked cool. Now we're at, I don't even know what's going on here.
At 2, Brute. At 2, Brute.
I don't know. It's like the unkindness.
It is very interesting, right? The Roman numeral, 70.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, XI. So look, 8 years of Latin over here. 8 years. Ubi es bubula is the other one I got for you.
I don't know. Don't talk about my mama like that.
Where's the beef? Where's the beef, Ricky? Not a spoken language. Trying to convince my daughter it would help her for medical school or law school. We'll see.
It's very suspicious. I got daughters taking French, and I'm suspicious of how helpful that is. I don't know about Latin.
59. There is a very deep story though on the Roman numerals. It's not going away. The commissioner and others have made that pretty clear.
They're just going to stick with it.
Yep.
Look, here, I'm going to start you out with a question. Let's put that back up, Tim. Can we get that back up? Yeah, here we do a poll of the day on this program. We just take 4 things, random things, throw them up using whatever your personal criteria is. What's your favorite thing among these options? We've got Ken Stabler, the great Hall of Fame Raiders quarterback.
Yes, sir.
We got the $6 million man.
Goodness.
We've got Kool and the Gang.
Yep.
And we've got Mustard.
Mustard.
Which we did for Ed McCaffrey because he's got his mustard brand and he was on the show earlier. So,
gotcha.
So out of those 4 things, stack them for me, DJ.
Okay. Well, number one, you can't go wrong with the $6 million man. Right, one of my favorite
gospel
shows.
Truth.
Come on, I mean that was
Gospel
Lee
Truth.
Majors. You can't forget that show.
That's right on.
Right. Well, and then Ken Stabler. I mean, one of the first lefties at quarterback in the league. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'll never forget that famous fumble.
The Holy Roller.
The
Holy Roller.
Yeah.
Dave Casper.
Absolutely.
Recovered that. Yeah,
right.
Good call.
And I was a Raiders fan back then too, so I love that part. Kool and the Gang, I mean, great music. You got to love that group.
A lot of good songs.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Mustard. Now, I love mustard mustard on my hot dogs.
Yes, sir.
But other than that, I'm good.
So who gets your vote?
Oh, my. I got to go with $6 million.
All right.
Man.
Got to respect that.
I mean, I love Ken Stabler, but I got to go with the $6 million man.
I mean, Colonel Steve Austin.
I mean, come on.
I mean, come on now. All right. Eagles, Chiefs, 2 teams that know each other. Obviously, they played a very close game a couple of years ago. Not exactly the same teams. Obviously, Saquon Barkley wasn't a part of Philadelphia at that time. What are you looking from as you assess this matchup?
Yeah, well, one, this is like a reunion for me. I'm running into players I played with, coaches that were my coaches, friends and family. So I look forward to this time of the year every year. Radio Row's so fun. There's hundreds of tables, members of the media. We get to reconnect. So this is a lot of fun for me. It's a lot more fun when my kids are playing in the Super Bowl. So unfortunately, the Niners didn't make it. The Commanders didn't make it. The Dolphins didn't make it. But I'm still a fan of the game. And I appreciate the greatest sport in the world and the greatest athletes in the world competing in the biggest game. Most entertaining, in my opinion, live entertainment that there is during the whole year. But I got to interview players on Monday night, A.J. Brown and Pacheco, Nick Bolton, and it was really fun for me because you can feel the energy of these guys. I feel like they were ready to play on Monday night. They already had a week of practice. The game plan's already installed. This week's about fine-tuning everything, getting off your feet, feeling physically ready to go. And it's exciting because it's live entertainment. Like, we don't know what's going to happen yet. It could go either direction. In terms of keys to the game for me, Philadelphia starts with their run game. But they have really talented wide receivers like A.J. Brown who are chomping at the bit to make big plays. I think Jalen Hurts has the least number of pass attempts of any starting quarterback this season, which can sometimes frustrate the receivers, and we've seen that. But guys like A.J. Brown, at least after talking with him, seems like he's dialed in. If he doesn't catch a ball in the first half, he's ready to catch 10 in the second. But their offense starts with the run game. They have one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the league with 14 touchdowns, dangerous in the red zone, and they have arguably the best run-blocking offensive line in the league, and they have a 2,000-yard rusher in Saquon Barkley.
Yes, they do.
So they're going to want to establish the run early, but I wouldn't be surprised if they took shots because Coach Spags on Kansas City's sideline, right, he knows they have to stop the run. Talking to Nick Bolton, they know they have to stop the run. But how do you do it? You just line up and stop it? You have to be aggressive. Slant, stunt, blitz some backers, blitz the run to try to get a TFL, because you don't want to live in 3rd and 2 against Philadelphia. They'll run the tush push 2 times in a row and move the chains. So strategically, it's going to be interesting to watch. But Philly got to run the ball to set up play action passes. But because they're already known as a running team, they could take a shot early in the game to see if they can hit on it and get a big chunk play. Kansas City's going to have to dial up some strategy to stop this run game. It's not going to be easy. And then when they do go man-to-man, they're going to have to be able to guard A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They have 2 really good corners, right? Pro Bowl caliber corners. Still not easy to cover good receivers one-on-one. For Kansas City, they might have to prove that they can run the ball, because nobody wants to leave Patrick Mahomes back there for 3-4 seconds surveying the field. And Philadelphia's been able to stop the run with their base front or their nickel front and drop 7 into coverage. And Coach Fangio does such a phenomenal job of disguising coverages. Now, Patrick Mahomes is smart. There might not be too much he hasn't seen before, but they'll start with 2 safeties, they'll rotate into cover 4, or they'll start in cover 4, they'll rotate into cover 6, rotate into cover 2. They could give a 3-look, rotate into quarters. I know they like quarters, but they give you so many different looks, and they can bracket, they can pick a receiver to bracket. Maybe it's Kelce every time, maybe it's not Kelce. Maybe they're bracketing another slot receiver, or they're bracketing someone outside, or rolling a safety over the top of one side and manning up somebody else. But if they can't get pressure doing that, rushing 4, and you give Patrick Mahomes enough time, he will find the open receiver. If they can't get pressure rushing 4, then they're going to have to bring pressure. And that's going to leave some really speedy receivers in Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, a chance to get down the field and potentially make a big chunk play. You have to have a plan for Kelce. If Kelce catches 10 passes and 10 targets for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns, you're going to get beat. So you got to account for him, but that leaves opportunities for the other guys on the field. So can Kansas City run the ball against Philly when they have to, and will they be committed to running it if that's what the defense is giving them? Can Philadelphia hit some big explosives over the top of this Kansas City defense who's going to have to bring someone down in the box to stop the run? And then for me, you have to have a plan for Kelce. The guy's about to set an NFL record for catches in the playoffs. You can't just let him dink and dunk you down the field, because some quarterbacks will make that mistake. Some quarterbacks will throw into coverage eventually, and that's what I think the Eagles want you to do. Force a ball. Let's get a takeaway. And they're good at punching it out too. But they're like, you're going to have to methodically move the ball down the field on us, and eventually you're going to mess up, or we're going to take it away. Not as easy to do against Patrick Mahomes. He might have 10, 12, 14 plays to stay in drives and punch it in the end zone. So I think it's a great matchup. They're both very physical football teams. I don't think Kansas City gets enough credit for how physical they are. They're very physical. But the offenses have been slightly different throughout the regular season. So that's my 2 cents. If, run the football, hit chunk plays for Philadelphia, be able to run the football, and for Kansas City, you got to get pressure on Mahomes or he'll kill you, and have a plan for Kelce.
New Orleans is such a great city. This is only the second time I've ever been to New Orleans in my life, but it's a city that I've tweeted about quite a lot. It made an impression on me, certainly the last time I was here and when I was a kid. And one of the main reasons that it made an impression on me is that facility right there that's going to be hosting the Super Bowl yet again, the Superdome. I think that it was the place that I saw the first ever Super Bowl game that I remember on TV, which was Super Bowl 12. Cowboys and Broncos, I believe, was a Superdome Super Bowl. Tim, how many Super Bowls have we had here? I think it's is it double digits? Yeah, my driver last night was telling me it was 11, but I don't know. He was my driver. So what can I tell you? Kenny Stabler, my all-time favorite quarterback, played in this town for a while, wearing an unfamiliar number. Take a look at that. Could the 1 and the 6 be any further apart? Saquon Barkley could squeeze through that 1 and 6 and go 75 yards for a touchdown. But that's late in Snake's career. He came to New Orleans, and I always wondered, why did he wear number 16? And I talked to his daughter, Kendra, and she told me that another guy had 12, and Stabler, rather than being a diva, thought about it and decided he was going to honor George Blanda, who was his mentor in Oakland. And there you have it, Kenny Stabler wearing 16 in NOLA. Let's see, I don't know. Pete Maravich played in this town as well and did some fine work here for the New Orleans Jazz back when that nickname made sense. Take a look at this box score, will you? That's the high-scoring game of Pistol Pete's career. 68 points he put up. 68 points. Not too shabby right there. Did he foul out? Yeah, fouled out, too. God knows how many he would have scored. I think he fouled out. But look at those warm-ups, would you? Check that out. He looks like the member of a choir in a church is what he looks like to me. Tim, how many times have you been to New Orleans in your life, brother?
Ricky, congratulations.
Thank you.
For starters, bro.
Thank you, man.
It's been a hell of a journey.
I appreciate it.
Following you probably 5-6 years ago, and to be here and to see the pageantry. We will get a good cutaway so folks at home can understand what's taking place here.
Yeah, you just
at the
can't.
Convention Center.
It really is. A picture tells more than 1,000 words when you want to soak in the atmosphere of what this is like. I'm looking out here and I'm seeing all kinds of, different, very familiar faces making their ways around.
5,000 members of the media.
It's the epicenter of the sports world.
About 8,000 vendors. Anyone who's anyone in the sports world is here pushing products, and obviously a lot of good charitable functions and things. But more importantly for you, bro, congratulations.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, 11 Super Bowls here at the Superdome.
Okay.
I'll always remember Bono.
See, my driver was right on it.
In 2001, opening his shirt, and you saw the American flag inside.
Yeah.
America needed that boost. This is my second time to New Orleans. I was here for Jazz Fest back in May of,
dude, second time for me. 2001 was when I was here before. So it's been almost a quarter of a century passed like that.
But incredible, the Superdome, right? When you look at it, I mean, it's so many remakes, obviously Katrina, but where it's at right now. Shout out to Ronnie T-Shirts, who's not with us here. Not taking your seat, brother, but just here keeping it cold, keeping it warm for you. We got Ed McCaffrey on deck.
Yeah, we do. Excited about that.
We've got quite a few guests. We've got Shaun Alexander coming up, and of course we'll get to some of our other.
It's so bizarre.
Here.
You and I were talking about when I've been doing this show I've been a talk show host for 6 months. Okay, I was in the classroom before that, so I'm working to an audience of like 30 people. I'm real comfortable with that.
Right.
I start doing the show, as you know, we're going to go a little inside baseball here. I'm alone when I'm recording that show. I got Tim in my ear, and production is in Nashville. I'm in Chicago. Ronnie's in Nashville. And so I'm just sitting by myself in an empty room doing the show, right?
Literally.
When I go to New York, I do this from a pod.
A small pod, isolated, no one around them as well.
So I'm like alone every time I've done this show for 6 months. Then I walk in here, and it's like I don't know what the square footage of this place is, but it's insane. And I'm bringing people in via Zoom, and we're about ready to go to Ed McCaffrey.
No
here
stage
in a moment,
fright for you, brother, and certainly no winter penis. Ron will be happy about that.
Yeah,
but great job. We're going to walk in Ed here in a second here.
Yeah, absolutely. But but
soak it in, man. Really, as your producer and as someone who's been consumed your content. Mr. Cobb goes to the Super Bowl. Like, it really is to hear Trey Wingo, to hear Bob Lee, who's reached out. You know, it's quite amazing to see. And I will say for folks at home, Ricky's had a few pat on the backs from random people like, hey, I love your content. And he's like, who is that? I'm like, I don't know, but that was, who you are.
Yeah, I'm showing it right now, but I'm completely not finding it.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.